This is Joe Walensky, Program Manager for ConveyUX, talking with some of the speakers who will be visiting Seattle in January for the conference. And today I'm talking with Donna Bright. Hello, Donna.
Hi Joe, what's up?
Where are you talking to us from today?
I'm actually at my work in Google Seattle in Fremont. Yeah, talking from there.
Well, tell us a little bit about your background. How did you come to be in Seattle? Tell us a little bit about the type of work that you do.
Sure. So I'm a user experience designer working on Google Maps imagery. So basically everything related to images and imagery found on Google Maps, and also like how basically allowing users to upload and contribute that content to maps. One of the latest launches we did was the Photosphere camera app on iOS. It's an app that lets users basically create their own street view and upload that to maps. Before that, I worked on a startup that was actually acquired by Google called LabPixies. I was designing games. And before that, I was a web designer designing websites. So my background is pretty versatile. I'm originally from Israel, and my like background is visual communication. Um, yeah.
Are you in the Seattle Fremont facility or on the east side in Kirkland?
I'm on the Fremont. That's where, in general, the Google Maps team is located. Although I'm working with like teams in different offices around the world, including Beijing and Mountain View. Yeah.
And what does it mean to be involved with UX for Google Maps? What types of activities are you involved with?
So basically, yeah, as I mentioned, my focus is the imagery. So the specific products are Google Maps use, which is a dedicated imagery website, basically photographers community that contribute to Google Maps, and Photosphere camera app. My focus is basically everything related to imagery on maps.
All right, well that's a big subject area.
Yeah, there's a lot to do, and obviously I can't kind of, drill into every specific project because not everything is published. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you have plenty of things going on, but are there any new things that you're interested in? Things that are particularly sparking your interest right now?
In general, I'm really excited about the whole evolvement of this field and how basically, the whole field is emerging. There's really advanced camera, like photography types that are basically getting to, the everyday user. For example, like the two examples are again the Photosphere camera, but also the Hyperlapse app. And I think, we see the GoPro cameras everywhere. The 3D photography is really advancing. And I mean, basically, I think we'll have some really interesting experiences coming in the next few years.
And your topic at the conference is titled Simplifying Complex Interactions. So maybe talk a little bit about, first of all, what that means to you, and the things you'll be talking about to the conference attendees.
Yeah, so it's kind of again a big field saying, simplifying complex interaction. I think in general, our role as user experience designers, everyone that's working in this field, is really to try to get to that crisp of experience, to try to basically reduce the friction, reduce the stress for users in their everyday interactions with products. Unfortunately, we see a lot of like products that almost give the users too many choices, too many features, too many buttons and options. One thing I really like to kind of refer to as the jam experiment, where they gave users six types of jams to choose from and 24 types of jam. And it was like crazy how, like, basically, I think 30% of the people who had to choose between six types of jams ended up buying a jam, and only 3% of the people who had introduced of like 24 choices bought a jam. And that just, it's just one example of how We tend to kind of give users almost too many choices and too like I think our basically role as designers is to kind of almost hide everything, all the complexity that's, all the product is going through to get them to that experience, what the engineers are working on, and, the PMs and all the, like, it's sometimes a lot of like complicated decision making and what features will be in there and what not. But for them, it just needs to feel like as intuitive as possible. Those are big words, but obviously there are really basic rules of how to get to that place. I can, start with a few, but the idea is in this presentation, I will talk about the basic rules for that and how to try to again reach to that goal because obviously it's a really hard job and that's what we do all day.
Well, yeah, and let me just ask you kind of a follow-up question, just maybe your own philosophy related to the designing of more complex apps, and just to obviously with the devices that we have now, there's they're more and more powerful. The processors are very fast now. The touch interfaces are extremely responsive, and to large extent, we have very powerful computers in our hands. So when it comes to apps for relatively small screen devices, is it? Do you think it's better to and you have if you have a lot of potential features that you want to express? Do you feel that it's better to have a series of apps with each with a small number of features, or a more robust app that combines features?
It's funny you mentioned that because that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. And I think, one of the really big trends we're seeing with design today is the, splitting apps to really like specific use cases. And I think this is a really good example of how it works really, really well to have, one app that does one thing well. Sometimes, again, talking about the choices, you have one app that tries to do too many things. The users are confused. And I think it happens a lot of the times because when coming to design a product, certain companies or product team, and again, not because they're, trying to create bad products, but they kind of start sometimes from the features they can build and not from the user stories, or they just kind of forget to optimize for a persona, try to get, one app catches all. For example, if it's an app that we really want to focus on power users, we really need to think of what works for them. And most apps don't really facilitate for all the users, right? They have a more specific, users in mind. So I think, yeah, I mean that's actually a really interesting trend. I do think that when you build an app, you also have to be careful that it's not too simplistic. Obviously, like yeah, you can split all your apps, your big app to like 10 different apps that each will do one thing, but then you also have to keep the engagement and making sure users come back. So that's also important too.
And you mentioned just different uh, categories of users, different personas that that we might have, different archetypes using our products. So along with my kind of my previous comment, but related to user experience, what do, is it a situation where you'll want to have different apps for different types of users? That's rarely done in software industry, but that's more out of I think convenience and practicality than necessarily the best design approach. Is that something that you talk about in your group at work?
So for us, it's not something that we felt that we need because obviously our user base is again the people who are enthusiastic about photography want to share their environment, want to share their the amazing places they go to. If it's the local cafe they're at, or if it's hiking somewhere and they really want to get that view. I do think that again, in some cases, I mean, I can have one example in-house. I know they've been really successful in YouTube, doing an app called the Creator for YouTube because it was again hard to kind of put all the more advanced features for you know the owners of the videos to that app. But even for us, I mean, you could potentially say, obviously, we're part of Google Maps, but the reason we have a dedicated app is that it again, it's kind of it makes a lot more sense, right? Because it's not like all the users. And again, we would love to, obviously, if all the Google Maps users would want to contribute photos, and that will be amazing. But that app is again more specific and geared for photography enthusiasts.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk about this with me today. And you won't have too far to travel for the conference, but
Yeah,
the attendees will be able to meet you in just a few weeks.
yeah. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, Donna.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.